After the supercommittee failed, the blame game began with Senator John Kerry taking a shot at his Republican colleagues.
America is stuck with the absolute rigidity of people who wanted to protect the wealthiest people in the country instead of providing $1.2 trillion of deficit reduction.
Following the failure, President Obama vowed to keep the pressure on Congress and threatened to veto any effort to remove the automatic cuts scheduled to take effect in January 2013. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta also criticized Congress, but reiterated his concern about the military. Quote, if Congress fails to act over the next year, the Department of Defense will face devastating automatic across-the-board cuts that will tear a seam in the nation's defense. The top Republican on the Senate Armed Services Committee is worried, too.
Military chiefs have said these cuts would be totally devastating. We live in a dangerous world, as we should know. So the president, again, has disregarded the strong recommendations and warnings of the Secretary of Defense and the leaders of the military.
The Pentagon has warned the cuts would lead to the smallest U.S. ground force since 1940, the fewest number of ships in the Navy since 1915, and the smallest Air Force in its history. Preventing that will require Congress passing $1.2 trillion in deficit reduction, which is what the 12-member supercommittee just failed to do.
If sequestration goes into effect, as it will now, we have to ask ourselves, are we willing to live with that? And if we're not, is there a way to have a shared sacrifice moving forward?
I think you'll see over coming months, we're going to offer proposals that would be alternatives to these cuts.
An added complication will be trying to do it, most likely in an election year. But McCain says there are non-defense places to slash spending.
We are reducing defense spending, and we're doing it rather dramatically. So I think we should do away with the agricultural subsidies.
The top Republican on the Budget Committee, Senator Jeff Sessions, has done an analysis showing the disproportionate impact of the cuts on defense spending, while the major players in terms of our long-term debt entitlements are not touched. Sessions calls that both unwise and dangerous. Shannon?
Mike Emanuel live on Capitol Hill. Thank you, Mike.